Students, in the previous video lecture, we already discussed regarding basic concepts of primary memory and the connection of the main memory to the processor as well as internal organization of RAM chip. So, in the present session, we'll try to discuss regarding the static memories as well as asynchronous DRAMs. Static RAM, it is also called as SRAM. So in the case of static RAM, each bit or the cell that can store the single bit of information. So within each cell, it consisting of a flip-flop, and the flip-flop can store either 0 or 1 in the given instant. So the cell's output is maintained until either altered to a new value or the power is turned off. I can say that whatever the information is stored within the SRAM cell, so that may be either 0 or 1 single bit of information, and so these bit of information, so either 0 or 1, whatever the information is stored within the SRAM cell, it will be maintained until any modification or alteration comes to with respect to this respective cell, or else there is a power failure or whenever the power is turned off. So when compared to dynamic RAM, that is DRAM, the SRAMs are more complex as well as more expensive. So while comparing with dynamic RAM, so the SRAM cells are more complex as well as more expensive one. So the diagram shows organization of a 1K into 1 memory chip. So an alternative arrangement which can be used in order to reduce the number of pin counts as well as increase the memory size. So that is by using 1K into 1 memory chip. So here we can observe that we are having 32 into 32 memory cells, 32 into 32 memory cells. So that is nothing but 1024 cells. 1024 cells. So I can approximate that into 1K cells. I can approximate that into 1K cells, and those 1K cells are arranged as 1K into 1 format. 1K into 1 format. So which requires total 15 connections, which requires total 15 connections. So out of those 15 connections, so we can make use of 10 connections for address. 10 connections are used for address. 1 connection is used for data line, and 2 connections are used for control lines. 2 connections are used for control lines, and 2 connections are used for supply. 2 connections are used for supply. So in the case of 1K into 1 arrangement, we are having total 15 connections. Out of 15 connections, 10 connections are used or 10 lines are used for address. 1 connection is used to represent the data line, and 2 connections are used to represent the control lines, and 2 connections are used for the supply line. So out of 10 address lines, suppose if you are having 10 address lines, so that is divided into, once again that is divided into 2 groups. So I can take 5-bit row address and 5-bit column address. So 5 bits each to form the row as well as column addresses for the cell array. So a row address which selects So this is the row address. So that is 5-bit row address, which selects a row of 32 cells, and accessed in parallel. But according to the column address, so that is we are having 5-bit column address once again. According to the column address, only one of these cells is connected to the external data line by the output multiplexer and the input demultiplexer. So while accessing the data, so here we are having, this is nothing but data input and output line. So here we are having 32 to 1 output multiplexer and input demultiplexer. So here we are having 5-bit decoder, so that is row address decoder, which will decode any one address among 32 address. So 32 address word line. So we are having W0 to W31. So one respective word line will be enabled, and to the memory and cell array, we can observe that there is a sense bar write circuit is connected, and depending upon the type of the operation, either we can perform read or write operations, and if it is read operation, the data will be copied from the memory cell into the data lines. If it is write operation, from the data lines, the data will be copied into the memory cell. So this is how the exact organization of a 1K into 1 memory chip is constructed. So basically we are having 32 into 32 cells, that is 1024 cells, and out of those 1024 cells, so we can approximate that into 1K, that is 1000 cells. So it can be organized as 1K into 1 memory chip, and it consisting of total 15 connections. Out of 15 connections, 10 connections are used for address. So out of those 10 address lines, we can make use of 5-bit row address and 5-bit column address. One connection is used for the data line, 2 connections are used for the control line, and 2 connections are used for the supply. So here we are having the row address. So the 5-bit decoder will select any one word line among 32 word lines. So that is nothing but W0 to W1. The respective row will be enabled. So similarly, 5-bit column address, it will enable one respective column. According to that, we can perform either read or write operations depending upon the signal read bar write operation. Asynchronous DRAM. Information is stored in a dynamic memory cell is in the form of a charge on the capacitor. So whatever the information we are storing within the dynamic cell, it will be stored in terms of a charge on a capacitor. So this charge, whatever which is stored within the capacitor, cannot be retained for long duration. So since whatever the charge is stored within the capacitor will not be retained for longer duration, hence the cell contents must be periodically refreshed. So the cell content need to be periodically refreshed in order to retain the state of the cell. So now how we can retain the state of the cell? So if you are maintaining the capacitor charge to its full value, if you are maintaining this capacitor charge to its full value, so that means we are periodically refreshing the capacitor in order to maintain its charge to its full value, so that we can maintain the constant value within the cell. The cell contents must be periodically refreshed by restoring the capacitor charge to its full value. Less expensive RAM can be implemented if simple cells are used Such cells cannot retain their state. Hence, they are called as dynamic RAM or DRAM cells. So DRAM cells cannot retain their state during the occurrence of any power failure. So the information stored in a dynamic memory cell is in the form of a charge on the capacitor. So this charge can be maintained only for few milliseconds, for tens of milliseconds. The content must be periodically refreshed by storing this capacitor charge to its full value. So if you are refreshing periodically, we can say that we can maintain or we can retain the state of the cell. So the diagram shows the dynamic memory cell. It consisting of bit line as well as the word line. To the bit line as well as word line, one single transistor is connected, and to that one more capacitor is also connected. So we can observe that a single DRAM cell having a capacitor C and a transistor T is connected to bit line as well as word line respectively. To store the information in this cell, the transistor T is turned on. In order to, so this is nothing but single cell. This is nothing but one single cell, I can say. Single cell. So now, I can say that whenever T is turned on, and an appropriate voltage is applied to the bit line, and the capacitor gets charged. So I can assume that whenever transistor T is on, this transistor T is on and the voltage is applied to the bit line, and the capacitor will get charged. So now the capacitor is completely charged now. So after the transistor is turned off, now I can say that whenever T is turned off, the capacitor begins discharged. So capacitor C starts to discharge. Hence, the information can be retrieved. If it is read before the charge on the capacitor drops below some threshold value. So whenever the transistor T is off, C starts discharging. So while reading the information from this cell, so we have to check the capacitor voltage Vc, and I can say that the single memory cell consisting of valid information only if or else the information can be retrieved correctly only if it is read before the charge on the capacitor drops below some threshold value. So I have to set some threshold. I'll set some threshold value for the capacitor charge. So I have to read the information only if the capacitor charge is greater than or equal to the threshold value. Then only we can retrieve the information from this dynamic memory cell correctly. So once again I'll explain in short. So a single transistor dynamic memory cell consisting of a bit line, word line, transistor as well as a capacitor. So now I'll assume that whenever the transistor T is turned on, an appropriate voltage is applied to the bit line. So at that instant the capacitor will start charging, and Now I'll take case 2. Whenever transistor T is turned off, whenever the transistor T is turned off, so now I can say that whenever this is off means obviously the capacitor C will start discharging, and while reading the informations from the dynamic memory cell, so I have to compare the voltage Vc, that is capacitor voltage Vc. So if it is just equal or greater than the threshold value, then only I can say that we can retrieve the informations correctly from the dynamic memory cell. The appropriate voltage is applied to the bit line which charges the capacitor C. After the transistor T is turned off, the capacitor begins to discharge. Hence, information stored in cell can be retrieved correctly before the threshold value of the capacitor drops down. So next we'll take read operation in order to read the informations from the dynamic memory cell. While performing read operation, so initially we can assume that the transistor T is turned on. The transistor, in order to perform the read operation, transistor T is turned on. So we are having the sense amplifier. So we are using sense amplifier in order to detect whether the charge on the capacitor is above or below the threshold. So we are using one amplifier, so that is called as sense amplifier. Sense amplifier, which is used to check the capacitor voltage. So this sense amplifier, it will detect whether the charge on the capacitor is above or below the threshold. If the charge on the capacitor is greater than the threshold value, bit line will have the logic value 1. So that means the bit line is enabled. I can say that the bit line is enabled. Bit line is enabled. So if the charge on the capacitor is lesser than the threshold value, then the bit line will be set to 0. Thus, reading the contents of the cell automatically refreshes its content. All cells in a selected row are read at the same time, which refreshes the contents of entire row. So whenever the bit line is 0, that means so we are performing refresh operation. We need to refresh the entire row information. We are performing refreshing or refresh operation of entire row information. So this is how we can perform read operations with respect to the dynamic memory cell. So the diagram shows internal organization of a 2m×8 dynamic memory chip. So in this organization, we can observe that a 16 megabit DRAM, which is structured as 2m×8, dynamic memory cell. So here the cell is organized as 4K×4K. Array. So 4K in the sense 4096 cells. So we approximate it into 4000 in each row, and so that is divided into 512 groups. So here we can observe that each row is divided into 512 groups, and each group consisting of 8 bits. Of information. So now each row can store around 512 bytes of data. So that means 512 bytes of data. Each row can store around 512 bytes of data. So I need to have 2 power 9. So that is equal to 512 512. So that means 9 bits are needed to specify a group of 8 bits in a selected row. So 2 power 9, 2 power 9, so that is nothing but 512, that is nothing but 512 bytes. So I can say that 9 bits are needed to specify a group of 8 bits in a selected row. And in order to represent 4096, we need around 12 address lines. So that is 2 power 12 is equal to 4096. 2 power 12 is equal to 4096. So that is why we can make use of row address. So that is from A0 to A8, total 9 address lines, and A9 to A22, total 12 address lines in order to represent 2M into 8 dynamic memory chip, and which consisting of two special signals called as RAS as well as CAS. So RAS is nothing but row address strobe signal, and CAS is nothing but column address strobe signal. So the higher order 12 bits and the lower order 9 bits of the address, which consisting of the row as well as column address of a specified byte. In order to reduce the number of pins on the chip, row as well as column addresses are multiplexed on 12 pins. During a read or write operation, the row address is loaded into the row address latch. So the row address will be loaded into the row address latch in response to a signal on the row address strobe input of the chip. Then a read operation is initiated in which all cells of the selected row are read as well as refreshed. So suppose if you want to read the complete row, so we have to enable RAS signal. So on behalf of RAS signal, whenever RAS signal is invoked, the corresponding entire row can be read out. So then a read operation will be initiated in which all cells on the selected rows are read as well as refreshed. So now the column address is applied to the address pin, so that is using CAS signal. So the information in this latch is decoded and appropriate group of 8 sense bar write circuits are selected. So depending upon the type of the operation, we can make use of sense bar write circuit either. So this sense bar write circuit consisting of two control signals like chip select as well as read bar write operation. So if the read bar write dash signal indicates a read operation, the output of the selected circuit is transferred to the data lines D0, D7 to D0. So that means, so whenever the selected operation is read operation, if the operation performed is to be read operation, from the memory cell the data will be copied into the data lines D0 to D7. For a write operation, the data from the data lines D0 to D7 will be transferred into the respective memory cells. So, address strobe signals are active low, hence termed as CAS and RAS dash. So, both the row address strobe signal as well as column address strobe signals are nothing but active low signals. So this is how a dynamic memory chip. So in this case we considered 2M into 8 dynamic memory chip, which consisting of 4096 into 4096 cell array. So once again the 4096 is considered as 512 groups, and within each 512 groups we can store 8 bits of information. So now in order to represent row, so that is nothing but 512, so we need to have 2 power 9 address lines. So 2 power 9 is equal to 512. Similarly, in order to represent the column, we need to have around, so that is 4096 means 2 power 12. So total we need to maintain 21 address lines. So we need to have 21 address lines in order to represent 2M into 8 dynamic memory chip. The 4-bit cell in each row are divided into 512 groups of 8 bits, and 21 bits address is needed to access a byte in the memory. 21 bits is divided as follows. So 12 address bits are needed to select a row, and A8 to A0, that is in order to specify the row address of a byte. So 9 bits are needed to specify a group of 8 bits in a selected row. So that is A20 to A9 or A9 to A20, which specifies the column address of a byte. Suppose the value of read bar write dash is equal to 1. So that means if it is 1 means, so we can perform read operation. Output values of selected circuits are transferred to the data lines D0 to D7, and suppose the read bar write dash, if it is 0, so that means we can perform write operation. The information from the data lines, so D0 to D7 means D0 to D7 means, so we are having around 8 data lines. 8 data lines. So the suppose read bar write dash is equal to 0 means write operation. So informations on D0 to D7, that is data lines, are transferred to the selected circuits. Now we'll take internal organization of 1M into 1. So this one I'll modify 1M into 1 dynamic memory chip. So if it is 1M into 1, so I can have 1024 into 1024 cell arrays. So in the case of 1024 into 1024 cell arrays, so we can make use of 2 power 10 is equal to 1024. So that is A0 to A9. So total 10 address lines. So similarly A10 to A19, once again 10 address lines. So here I can consider, instead of this, we can make use of A9 to A0 as well as A19 to A10 address lines. So total we need to have 20 address lines in order to represent 1M into 1 dynamic memory chip. So the other operation is same as 2M into 8 DRAM chip. So it consisting of RAS signal as well as EAS signal, followed by row address slash and column address slash. Along with that we are having the row decoder. So it will decode one respective row from the related n number of rows or some set of rows. And we are having sense bar write circuit. According to the operation read bar write, if it is read, the data will be copied from the memory cell into the data lines. If it is write, from the data lines the data or information will be copied into the memory cell. In the case of DRAM cells, the contents of all 4096 cells, that is 4096 cells, in the selected row are sensed, but only 8 bits are placed on the data lines. So while selecting the row, will select all 4096 cells, but only 8 bits, only 8 bits that can be placed on the data lines. We are having 8-bit data line, so only 8 bits we can place it on the data lines. So this byte is selected by the column address bits A0 to A8. To access another byte in the same row, the latch can be added at the output of the sense amplifier in each column. So the application of row address will load the latch corresponding to all its bytes or bits on the selected row. So thus applying different column address, different bytes can be selected. So we have to, each time we have to apply the column address, that is CAS dash, and we have to read the informations. So instead of that, a small group of bytes is commonly referred to as blocks. So I'll consider a small group of bytes, which is generally referred as block. Within the block, we are consisting of few bytes of information, whereas a large group is referred as page. So similarly, if you are considering few more number of bytes within the block, and such block we can represent as page. And the larger group, so comparatively the smaller memory block, system is block. So next comes page. After that, if you are having larger number of groups, and such configuration is called as segments. By applying sequence of column address using CAS dash signal, byte can be transferred in a sequential order at a faster rate compared to the data transfer using random address. So we can make use of column address strobe signal, and we can perform the data transfer. That means bytes can be transferred in a sequential order at a faster rate compared to the actual data transfer using the random address. So if you are using random address while transferring the data rate will be very slow. So this type of block of transfer is called as fast page mode. So in the case of fast page mode, we can make use of column address signal, so that is CAS dash signal, which can be used in order to transfer the data in a faster rate compared with the data transfer using the random address. So this is called as fast page mode. So this technique is more helpful in order to transfer the data between main memory, cache as well as other secondary memory storage cells. So this fast page mode can be implemented while transferring the data between the main memory, cache as well as other memory accesses. So but while exchanging the data, we need to use CAS signal in order to achieve better data rate or better high speed of data transfer.